nachos, amigos, and welcome to Record Breakers, your music podcast where a bunch of great friends gather together, share music with each other, an album at a time, like a little book club for music. It's a fun time had by all. I'm Petey Rave, and I'm 35. Here with me is my team, my squad, my crew. We've got David.
It's pronounced robot, not robot, you infidels.
Mm-hmm. We've got Drew.
Hi.
And of course, we have a new guest as a new round of episodes, a new cycle begins anew. We have with us for these few episodes, the one, the only, one of our returning guests, Mike, a.k.a.
Hey.
Avarant. How you doing, Mike?
I'm actually not a robot.
Hey, Mike.
The key? Robot arms. We're here to talk about music. We're talking about an album, and I'm talking about an album. Actually, yeah. So, it's gonna be me that is introducing the album. It's an album by a group. It's a really cool group. A Korean indie group. It's very creative guys, a little like super group. The bassist from one band, the singer from another one, the drummer. I guess they're just kind of like a friend of theirs. We've talked about them before. A group by the name of Life and Time. And we talked about Land before, their previous album. They had released an album last year. It's by the name of Age. It's going to be an interesting album, but let's talk about expectations. David, what were your expectations coming into this album?
Given that I knew that this was going to be more on the indie side of Korean music that is normally brought on this podcast, I was more receptive to it, as opposed to, as I like to call, the giant K-pop conglomerate factory machine. I'm usually more receptive to this, and despite Life and Time having a little bit of information that was a little tough to come by, I was definitely interested. Honestly, the more I tried to Google these guys, the more on BTS came up. I'm not even kidding. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to talk about them and try and find out a little more.
Yeah. Drew, what were your expectations coming into this band?
The weird thing is, with this one, like you said, we've talked about them a little bit before. I recognized the name, and I was like, why? It was one of those things where, like, I knew I should know something, and like it sort of slipped my mind. Knowing it was from Korea, knowing it was a little bit more on, like, David said, more on the indie side than the idol side. It was going to be something probably a little bit more my speed than some of it, but something that I was ready for the production levels to be insane. So,
and last but not least, Mike, what were your expectations coming into this album?
So what I had at first was just the name of the album and the picture on the front of it and some Korean letters on the track listings. But I didn't get to listen to it for about 2 days after that. So I thought it was going to be a K-pop album, just for Pete's reasons. And so I thought the whole podcast. But then I saw the cover of the album. The cover of the album makes it look very like if it was going to be pop music, it was going to be very slow singing. So I thought I was in for like pop ballads. And then the first time I listened to it, it just went straight into the hard drums. I was like, oh, okay, so we're not doing that.
Yeah.
I had to kind of throw out all my expectations and get new ones.
Yeah. This is definitely not K-pop, and it's definitely not pop ballads, though there are plenty of those that we could check out all over the top of the Korean charts. But we're not talking about those. That would be a fun experiment. This group, we talked about them before. They're it's a trio. Just Jin Shil on guitar, You got Sunbin on bass. You have the Cox, which is just a fantastic band name. And the drummer Im Sang-wook. It's a very bare bones instrumentals, but like it's very creative. It's very fun. It's very like it in the past they like when we talk about Land, they mix a lot of like math rock with blues rock with like a little bit of rock and roll with kind of very cool instrumentation, very cool like experimentation and like just playing around with stuff. Here it very much still is that really cool like creative like just dudes who are really good at those three instruments just doing stuff and doing it really well. It's really fun. It's very kind of
a power trio, you might say.
Yeah. They do a lot to make each instrument shine. Everything's very clear. Like even just getting into like the fidelity thing, everything's very clear, and you can kind of really like watch yourself in each instrument and kind of tune into any moment. And there's just some really cool moments, but they also have their great moments to like rock out and kind of show their like 90s rock, 90s grunge rock, like college rock feel, which has these really cool moments for that. And it's just a really cool album. It's really creative and it's really fun, and it's really cool. So let's go to you guys. David, how would you describe this album musically?
I would describe this as summer rock. This was an album that definitely has a unique vibe that goes throughout the entire album. You can, if you're fortunate enough to have a patio, you can put this on a wireless speaker and just sit on the patio, have yourself a summer shandy, and just relax to it. It's definitely that kind of album. Well produced. I especially enjoyed the drummer. I think this is a well-produced, well-mixed, good-sounding album. Every instrument is very clear. The vocals are clear. I think this is a really well-done, well-produced, complete album of good rock that has a vibe throughout the album from start to finish.
Mm-hmm. Drew, how would you describe this album musically?
Well, the thing that hit me about this one was the sort of almost like jazzier undertones you get throughout. The musicianship here, the smoothness of it all, I think was actually incredible. There is the sound of it is super, super clean. And usually when it's music from, say, Korea or Japan that we listen on here, I always talk about how clean the production sounds, how great and tight the production sounds. This time, I mean it on a completely different end of the spectrum. For a rock album, there's a lot of chorus effects used and a lot of like very clean guitar. You barely, if at all, hear any like high gain, like overdriven sort of stuff in this, which I think is cool. There are some effects put on the instruments, but it's usually something it's a little different than that. The musicianship, I think, throughout is great. Yes, the drums are a bit of a highlight in a lot of it, but the way the bass and the guitar mix in to everything and sort of play off of each other, I think is really great. And also what struck me a lot in this is there are musicians sometimes who will prove that they are great musicians because they can play a lot of very technical things very quickly, and they can put a lot of notes and a lot of runs and stuff like that.
The twist
and then they're yes. Or like what happens sometimes in thrash metal, which is I'm going to play a solo with all of the notes on my guitar because I can.
They're there.
Whereas
I have all these
because we're playing thrash metal.
You got to prove that they're all there.
Yeah,
right. You gotta use them all. But I think
Gotta catch them all.
sometimes some of the greatest musicians will prove that they're great musicians by showing you exactly when to utilize a lot of notes very quickly and when to lay back and let it mix in with another instrument and how that sort of composes into the song. I think that everything there, it does have, Dave brought it up, and I think that's a good point. It has that sort of like laid back, chilled summer quality to it that just cruising along in your car with the windows down, just having a feel good time. Mm-hmm. Wish I could understand the lyrics because I don't know if that's what they were trying to get across there. Don't know like a Korean, but hey, there it is.
Petey, what were the lyrics about?
I don't know any Korean. I still, all I've got is I can read it phonetically.
And see, I tried to Google this stuff too. I couldn't come up with lyrics.
And you know what? Who needs lyrics? That's what I say.
I do. I've said that from the beginning since I joined.
It turns out the whole thing's just a really dark detective drama, but
that would be cool.
Just dressed up differently.
Make your own lyrics. Mike, how would you describe this album musically?
I felt like this is an album where, like, the main takeaway I had was that it was driving the entire time, but it felt relaxed. So, like, the whole album felt quick. It had a strong pacing to it, but it was still kind of just kept the chill vibe going the whole way through. It also does a lot of stuff that I think is stuff I hate in music by itself, but it all worked out really well in this. Like, they used a phaser on their guitar on a lot of tracks, which is something no one really has done since like the early 80s or the 70s. And it made it sound good as opposed to a lot of other bands just can't seem to pull it off without sounding dated. What else? They used heavy fuzz through a lot of it. They used like a kind of a really basic garage rock to platform one of the songs. It's the whole thing is just well put together, and they combine a lot of different. They have a lot more variety in there for a band that seems to have a really basic sound.
Yeah. I think they kind of have a really good, like, they have a lot of variety, but still have a less is more mentality, which is a really cool, like, kind of way of going about it. And we kind of, when you drill into some of the songs, it starts off, that first impression when Picnic comes on, like, when it just kind of catches you off guard. It's very cool. It's very creative, like that first beginning few seconds, or even getting into something like Jet Cloud, Korikurum, in Korean. It throughout that whole song, it builds up really well, and there's a lot of moments for everyone to shine. And they use the effects that they use really well in specific ways, and it's really cool. Or it's all it kind of changes the pace even to EXIV 98, where that one's just their headbanger. like this is just like they're going out loud, very like 90s garage rock, college rock, really cool. Or something like the one of the singles, Summit, Jung has a really cool effect on that bass that kind of is up right up front. Is really cool and kind of brings you in really well while everybody else comes in. It's just a really fun song. And then I found my own sproing on this album. And hopefully you guys could help me identify it. In Time Machine, towards the middle and end, there's a sound that is like the and I was trying to figure out what it was.
I was like, you're gonna have to ask the gear guy, Mike.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out because I even watched a live performance of theirs, and like I was like, all right, this is the part where it comes up, and then it's just going. I'm like, where's the guy playing that thing? Like, where is the guy? Is he off stage? And I figured it was maybe a sample or something, but I don't know. Do you know, Mike? Do you know what it is? Like, do you have
yeah, and the greatest thing about it is he could have been playing it right in front of you. You might not have really noticed it. It's called a theremin. So basically,
yes,
it's an XY
I
coordinate
figure it was
thing.
a theremin. Yeah.
Yeah, but it measures like the distance between. Yeah, so you know what a theremin is then, basically.
Yeah.
playing the air theremin.
But yeah, that was what it was. It was a theremin with
For
some
the
effects
video,
on it.
for the audio listeners, I'm
You're just
playing
like-
an air theremin.
I was like,
Oh,
I thought it was a theremin, but I was trying to like identify it, and I was like, but nobody was there playing it, and but I don't know, because they were all, everybody was in their on their instruments, just doing their thing, including the bassist. So I was like, yeah.
For the audience, since he cut off part of that, if you don't think you've heard of theremin before, and you've ever seen any sci-fi from the 70s or 80s, you've heard of theremin before.
or if you've ever listened to any 90s West Coast rap.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yes.
Or if you've
Like
ever
that
heard
boys
the
out.
Funky Worm by the Ohio Players.
Basically,
Do that.
If you've heard some 70s funk or 90s rap, in other words, 70s funk.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's like you've heard of theremin. But
try to teach kids the youth samples this week at Geek Squad Academy,
the youth,
which was
Nice.
fun to try to explain. Like all the examples I wanted to use was like Dr. Dre and Fab Five Freddy, and realizing those kids would not know that, and having to use Kanye West was possibly my saddest moment of all time. But it worked.
it works.
So
Me and Dr. Dre I thought he only made headphones.
You don't need no headphones. All right, let's get to it. David, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
TV drama, first of all. I am a big fan of any musical act that is of the rock variety that is not afraid to unexpectedly bring in some brass sections. And TV drama did that, and I enjoyed that. And it also, this track went Latin for a few seconds, and I thought that was really, really fun. Also, the vocal melodies in, I believe this is the track named Jamsugyo. They kind of went in a direction that was almost kind of droney, where it just kind of went on and kind of drifted off, and it was very cool how they kept going with the vocal melody in that song. Also, I put in for the notes for EXIV 98. This was a riff monster. I really enjoyed this one. This one had some real riffs on it, and I appreciate that.
The predecessor to Rat Monster, Riff Monster. Drew, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
well, for me, Picnic, the lead track, it starting out with that sort of movement heavy piece with just the sort of light effects on the guitar, very strummy, pretty, lots of movement within those guitars. The vocals also had this quality of being like just this slight airy calming effect throughout the entire album. It was that song, I was listening to it in my car, and I was like, oh, maybe I should just wait until I get home and put on my headphones for this one. Maybe I should just get this through these guys and really get into this. Jet Cloud. Jet Cloud was the song where I took notice of the drummer. The fills adding the right emphasis the whole way through, just that the awareness of a drummer can sometimes be lacking in some music, especially some of the music I listen to sometimes. This drummer was very much aware of what his drums could bring to the party and was amazing back to front on this one. And then Dark Room to finish out my trifecta of highlighting every different instrument, apparently, because this one was, the bass hit me on this one, giving it this like menacing, almost like smoky jazz club feel to the whole thing, which I guess could maybe have been what the title was about.
Yeah.
But it was something that, like, I'm a bass player. I'm going to notice cool bass licks, and that song definitely had it.
Yeah. Mike, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
So I'm looking at my list, and I almost feel like I'm lying because I have, like, the opening riff to Picnic has been playing in my head the entire time we've been doing this, like straight through the entire time. It's just do. But the ones I have on here is I have Jam Sugyo. I thought that was one of the really cool ones, and I think I might be using this genre wrong, but it kind of gave me like an acid pop feel to it, like the way the whole thing was constructed with the beat structure being a little weird, like, and the whole thing being really reductionist the whole way through. Then I had EXIV 98 as my second one. Then as I was listening through again, I heard Wisdom, and it got to the guitar solo at the end of it, and it was so good that I was like, I have to remove this one and put Wisdom in. So Wisdom was my second one because it had this weird propaganda-esque solo in it, where it's normally single notes the whole way through the thing. Then it was doing duo note solos. And then my last one is Time Machine, and the reason is because I said I like the weirdness of the song, and it has theremin solo. That's why I knew exactly what you were talking about, because I was like, that was like one of my standout moments for the whole thing.
Yeah, like the little like it's just kind of cool how it rides out, which is really cool. I was like, yeah. Let's bring it back around the horn. Talk about some conclusive thoughts. David, how would you conclude on this album as a whole?
I believe that this is a really good album from start to finish. However, the album, if you like an album to have strong standout tracks, like one track is very unique to the next, this album may not be what you're looking for, because the entire package feels like a complete piece rather than a collection of tracks together. If you want an album to put on for however long this was, it wasn't very long. It's a good vibe. The entire album is a vibe. It's a mood, as the youths like to say.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good mood. I think it's a good, complete album from start to finish. I think it's one you can play while you're at work at your desk, while you're doing things. And it's one you can sit out on the patio and chill and have yourself an ice cold lemonade too.
Mm-hmm. Drew, how would you conclude on this album?
This album is something that, like I said, was super calming for me for some reason, back to front. It was super chill, super relaxing, and something that, as I get some warm days here in the lovely Ohio, might actually listen to a bit more, like you said, with the nice glass of lemonade, maybe a sweet tea instead, for me. But it's something that this type of, like, sort of soft, like, not soft, like smooth jazz, but like bordering on it, like like knocking on the door, but with more of a rock and roll bent to it, I think is something that I would like more of, for what it's worth. And this was definitely something that, like, is gonna be on the regular probably for me.
Mm-hmm. And Mike, how would you conclude on this album?
I'm gonna pick I'm gonna say one of the older things I can possibly say, but I'm gonna try to buy the album and download it onto my phone, and not just have it on Spotify. But it's a great album to just keep kind of chill. Like, I guess kind of along what David said, though, is it is one of those things where it doesn't have a lot that sticks out if you're just listening to it straight through, but it's just good the whole way. What else did I have on there? Oh, I had the same thing. The drummer on this entire thing is amazing. So, like, that's another reason I could just listen through again and again, is to try to hear what he's doing. Because there's a lot of times where he was doing the exact, like Drew said, he's doing the exact perfect thing for the moment. So that was kind of awesome.
Yeah.
What was the drummer's name again, Petey? Let's shout him out.
Im Sang-wook. Or Im Sang-wook. But yeah, he's not. I don't believe he's affiliated with another band. I think it's just a guy that they know, or I think maybe a mercenary, as it were, or at least as far as the one review from Korean Indie, they didn't mention another band. But yeah, he is fantastic. Jin Shil is fantastic. Sunbin is fantastic. They are all really talented. I think this is a really great showcase of that. This album, front to back, is a really cool experience. It, just put it on, just vibe out, like drink some lemonade, some hard lemonade, smoke some weed. I don't know. Unless you're in Korea, then don't smoke any weed.
And don't stay off the
weed. This is for you.
You say that in Korean, Petey. Can you say
no.
Kpoppodcast.com. Listen to Hallyu-Juku, everybody. It's Petey and Kaz. It's great.
Yo, I'm gonna come through YG Entertainment and just start yelling, "Stay off the weed!" All of them kids.
Can't Stephen A. them kids.
Yeah. That being said, find your.
Sorry, I was gonna try to stay off the weed.
Yes.
There
you go.
I'm sure I butchered that.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
They understand English. It's fine. Send them clips of Stephen A.
Yeah,
exactly. Just stay off the weed.
Don't.
If you're out of Korea, do your thing. If you're in Korea, stay off the weed. Specifically, but that being said, this is a really cool album to vibe out to. Whatever it puts you in your cool place, do that. Just have your moment. But also, if you want to, you can also just put it on your headphones and actually study it and listen to it and pick at it and ooh, that's so cool, and watch it as listen to kind of the little moments, because they have a bunch of great little moments musically, with the guitars, the drums, that all line up really well and are all line up fantastically. This is a really talented band, and they were last time, and they are this time. And though I did see something on the Happy Robot Records, that they may be going on hiatus, because again, they have other projects and other careers aside from this group. It's kind of like a side project thing. I hope they can make some time to do more and continue more projects, do other albums and stuff like that, because that would be, this is a really cool project, this really cool band, hopefully. That being said, that brings us to the end of our thoughts on this album. We get to the main event of the evening. We get to our haiku reviews, a moment we've all been waiting for, where we sum it all up in poetic form. With the 575. Let's get down to it. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Haiku numero uno. David, what is your haiku?
Most I have enjoyed any Korean music since joining this show.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to southwestern New Mexico, or southeastern, southwestern, and northeastern New Mexico. The 575 area code.
Dang it! I was gonna make a joke about that when it came to me, and you cut me off. I hate you.
Drew, what is your haiku?
Beautiful, jazzy, with some great musicianship. Sign me up for more.
Yes. Mike, what is your haiku?
All right, mine's South Korean rock, relaxing, energetic, cool guitar, cool drums.
Mm-hmm. Mine's finally I got mine's. 3 skilled musicians using their talents to prove less truly is more. Those are our thoughts on Life and Time Age. You can, of course, find it on our Spotify playlist. Save you a lot of work trying to Google it. Just listen to it there. Listen to that album there. Follow the link through their artist links. See their artist page. Listen to all their music. Do it.
Let them know some Americans like them.
Mm-hmm. When you see them, extra streams and stuff.
Apparently, the people we review are now listening to our podcast sometimes, so that's weird.
Yeah, that's awkward. That's really awkward.
I have questions
Whatever.
after.
If you're from a band that we've thrown under the bus, get good.
Sorry.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Especially when they take it well and actually enjoy the constructive criticism, which is really cool.
Yes.
But yeah, those are go do the thing on the Spotify playlist. On there will also be next week's record, which will be provided by none other than David. David.
Petey Rave, I'm excited.
What do you got?
Excited.
What do you got? What do you got for us next week?
In Norway.
In celebration of the 50th year of their existence, the mighty Robert Fripp has put his entire music catalog on the internet for everyone to listen to through streaming. And I have brought the 1974 album Red by the mighty King Crimson.
So look forward to that next week. That's a heavy duty one. But that is next week, and this is this week. And you can, of course, find us all over the internet. David is at Call Me DJM. Drew is at XDruciferX. Mike is at Avarant, Avarant. I'm at PD Rave. The show's 4 Record Breakers. That's the number 4 Record Breakers. RecordBreakersPodcast.com, RecordBreakersPodcast@gmail.com if you want to email us. Rebelli.net for this and other shows. Rebelli TV on YouTube. You can, of course, find us everywhere you find podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. I'm putting it everywhere. Subscribe, like, share, give us feedback, interact, do all the things. Until next time, hasta los huevos.
I'm sorry, Alpha Riff. I didn't mean to be an asshole. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
Robots.
Sorry.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.